So I put this nice cheap eBay computer together and running really well so far. Doing everything it wants to. Actually, it's probably better than my original gaming computer that I built. The only issue that we found is that it seems to be running a little bit hot. So I set up the hardware monitor on there. It was a little bit warm, running around 70 degrees Celsius. Again, that's not very hot, but I wanted to see if we could cool it down. In order to cool it down, what we ended up doing is just running it with an open case, but I didn't really want it to run open case if we could help that at all. So I thought, let's put a ventilation fan in there. But a ventilation fan that would fit in that kind of a slim form factor computer would be about a 60 millimeter fan maybe, and those run pretty loud. So instead I decided, you know what? I'm just going to cut a little hole in that case so I can blow mainly directly some hot air over that GPU and see if that brings the temperatures down. And what you'll see is it didn't really quite work out the way I had planned it. So enough of me blabbing on. Let's roll the clips. We got a nice hole cut out with just some drills and using a set of tin snips. These are like probably one of the best investments I've ever had. Come in a package of 3, so you can cut left or right. I just sand the inside as well. I just use some 120 grit sandpaper or so to take off the sharp edges. I'm going to be installing this fan right here, and that's to give some airflow into the case directly over the GPU and the CPU, the chipset. I am going to put a fan filter that goes over top of this fan just to cut down on some of the dust going into the case. It will reduce some of the flow, so the straight airflow, but it will reduce the dust quite a bit, so I'm going to be using a fan filter on top. And in case you're wondering, I do have another mousetrap coming in the near future, and that is this one, which is going to have a little bit of a trap door. So many projects on the go at the same time. The numbers on the right were when the fans were not running. That was the maximum temperature. So when that 120 millimeter fan was not running, it went up to a high of 57 degrees Celsius. So it's a little cooler with the fans running, with the one fan, running right now. And that's with the fan filter on there. Now the GPU has very little change, and that is 70 degrees Celsius with the fan off and 69 degrees Celsius, or 68 usually, with the fan on. But I was hoping the GPU temperature would be a touch lower than it is right now. Again, 70 degrees Celsius, not bad, but I don't know, I thought all that work for the fan might have made a bigger difference. Let's try without the fan filter. It's been running for a little while now, and you can see the temperatures of the CPU with the fan filter, this thing, with that off and the restriction gone, how much better that airflow is in there. So it's about 10, this is with no fans running at all, and this is with the fan running, no filter. You can see it's basically about 10 degrees colder. So there's the GPU there too. So it's about 6 degrees cooler than when the fan's not running, but also when the fan filter was on, it was around 69 degrees Celsius. So again, 5 degrees cooler with the fan filter off. So what it looks like I'm going to be doing is just cleaning out the computer a little bit more often. The 120 millimeter fan definitely does help. Next, to see what the open case scenario is like. So as you can see there, it looks like the CPU doesn't care. I mean, it has its own dedicated fan blowing across it. It doesn't seem to be bothered too much by whether the case is open, closed, whether there's a fan running over top of it extra. Here's where the GPU does care a little bit. At 67 degrees Celsius, again, it's a little warmer than when the fan was running on it. The fan running on it without the fan filter was definitely a little bit cooler, running around 64 degrees, 65 degrees. A couple degrees, again, not a huge deal, but, you know, still something, still a little bit better. Time for the joke of the day. I've been diagnosed as colorblind. It certainly has come out of the purple. Some of these are really bad. Well, this video certainly didn't turn out how I expected it to, but hey, you know, live and learn. Anyway, would I do this over again? Yeah, probably. Not too smart. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you have ideas, just, you know, try them out. See what happens. That's what I do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Ladybug adventure.